Well, the sun has gone behind the clouds for a little bit, but just a little bit. Um, there's a kind of an old saying, an old way of talking about the sun when you're outside working. When the clouds come over, or rather, really, it's about the clouds. That right there looks like about a 5 minute cloud, and that 5 minutes is over. That's sun. It's about mid-June right now here in Alabama, and it's getting hot. Yes, it is. And something tells me that it's just going to get hotter. That's weighing heavily on my mind. But I can do things. I can get out an umbrella. Ah, yes. Instant shade. It reminds me of something I wanted to tell y'all. A lot of you know this, and but some of you may not. The umbrella was originally invented to keep us out of the sun. We need the sun, but a little too much of it is, well, it's a bad thing. So someone, I believe in China, many, many hundreds of years ago, invented the umbrella. It was later used to help us stay out of the rain mainly. Now, why am I talking about the sun? Well, I'm gonna create some shade here. I'm not sure what I'll have on the video today. It's almost always a surprise to me what I make one on. I don't script or plan too much ahead. And most of the time I make my videos each day and upload them each day. So you're getting fresh content. Still hot from the oven. Sometimes it's a hot mess, and I apologize for those times. What I'm showing you here, let me put this umbrella down so I can use my hands. And I need to start talking faster. I keep saying that. What you're seeing here is the area that I caught the caterpillar in, that he showed up in, he or she. And normally I do like to let nature take its course, but I have more of those caterpillars around, and I'm thinking to myself, just this one. But one thing that pushed me over the edge, that made me realize it's almost my responsibility, this tree here, this red sumac, was in the way and causing me to not be able to film very well. And so I snapped it off. But when I did that, it also made the caterpillar to become exposed. It was hidden back in here. And so now that I did that, it was in full view of every wasp, every bird. And so I felt a responsibility as well to it. So it's not just me snatching something out of the wild. You know, a lot of times that's simply breaking the prime directive of being a naturist, you know, or natural lover of all things like that. So we want to be responsible with what we do. I caused it a problem, and so that pushed me over the edge a little bit more to do that and to take care of that responsibility. But the sun can affect us in so many ways. Another little thing I've learned in recent years is how the output of the sun, the cosmic rays from the rest of the stars and the radiation in the universe, and the sun, our own star, its output can actually affect us in many ways. There's been recent studies in the last few years that the rays that we get in from the sun, all that energy, can actually affect our moods. It's an electrical thing. It can actually make us depressed, make us feel better. It's a very interesting thing that I'm just learning about. If you want to learn about it, that information is out there, and you can check it out. I just found that amazing. I wanted to share it with you. Now let me get on to something more gardening related. Well, my pepper, my Will It Grow special pepper, is loving the sun. And once again, I've moved this to protect my babies. There have been no no cat, no feline incursions over the night. But the sun will still stress out my my passion flower transplant, and I was using this to cover it up. So I'm going to have to put some more shade in here. Give it a little drink of water here, and I'll give my lemon balm a little water here. Yep, and a little bit for the Malabar spinach. There's a dragonfly that is keeping me company, but you know, they come and go very fast. So it's hard for me to get him on camera. This bed is looking a little dry. We haven't had much rain here, and although all this rotten wood acting as a mulch, it saves the water and it helps it hold it in. I'm going to have to put a hose on it. The other beds that I have on the upper part of my property keep the rainwater from coming down and infiltrating this as good as it used to. So I will have to manage that. Yeah, we have to watch out for the sun. My comfrey there is doing very well. It's taken root and established itself. Let me see, where do I go next? Right. Well, what I have done here, I've just looked at what I had available in my natural world here. What we've got here are some of the sumac that I cut down a while back. I didn't burn them. I haven't chopped them up and put them on the compost. That would have been a great idea too. Anything like that goes on my slow burn pile that I just don't care about, and it breaks down over the years. I can tap into it at any time for some really great soil. But I've just laid some of those red sumac poles right up here, some of the same ones I used for frost protection earlier, and then broke off some more red sumac and intertwined it in here. What that's doing is offering me that shade. It's not costing me a thing, and by the time all of this breaks down, the passion flower beneath it will have established itself. So this is something you can do. These things, okay, these natural ways of dealing with our properties is how we all are here today. The countless generations over thousands and thousands of years learning about nature from those that came before them and using them. It's how we're all here. That history is far greater and far longer than our modern world is, where we go out and spend money to do things. The answers for most of our problems are all around us, if we're fortunate enough to have such a place to do that. My little place here is only a half an acre, but I let it be as natural as possible, and I look at things in slightly different ways. So I did not have to buy any shade material. I have some from a few years ago that I use quite often. I'm about to break that out. It won't be in today's episode though, but this is giving you some idea of things, looking at things in a different way. The Malabar spinach is just happy. Now, let me show you something else. Another passion flower. I won't keep up. I have several of these scattered around. And pretty soon, I'm going to cut down all this, and it's going to become compost. But that's how I do things. It's not that I'm saying you should do it, you know, that I'm saying for you to do it. It's just what I do. Wild edibles. What have I got here? This looks familiar to me, and I think I know what its name is, but I'd love for you to see that. That's gorgeous. And I wouldn't have this if I created a big grass landscape here. If I kept up with the Joneses and what everybody else thought was the right thing to do. I'd be missing these things, and I have many of these. I have many of all kinds of plants here. My sunchokes are now well over my head, reaching for the sun. You know, today is all about the sun, isn't it? in my garden here amongst the plantain. Remember from a past episode I told you that this is where psyllium comes from, the natural fiber that we crave sometimes. The older we get, the more we crave that mineral. The psyllium comes from this stalk, the seed stalk of the plantain. Now, just below here is what I really wanted to mention to you real quick about. Let me move this plantain. What we're seeing here is a freshly hatched out dragonfly that I disturbed. I scared him. It looks like he may have damaged wings, or he's probably just very fresh emerged from his cocoon. So let me put him right there. What he'll be doing is pumping up his wings full of blood. But that's a fresh dragonfly that's going to be hovering around here, bringing its beauty. Now, let me show you something else. The tadpoles, they're going to change into a frog. They go through those changes. The dragonfly that I just helped out, it once looked like a creature like this. It lived in the water. An incredible predator under the water. If you find some videos out there, there's plenty of them, to show you what an incredible hunter a dragonfly is when it's under the water. But they change. They metamorphose. They go through this change and become a new creature that flies in the air. They leave their old skeleton behind and become something new. It reminds me that people can do the same thing. There are the other two peppers that I've got to get into their own little 5-gallon container, 5-gallon bucket. Got to get those done. But we're talking about the sun. Here is the little terrarium, big cookie jar, canister, whatever you want to call it, that I've got the caterpillar in. We can't see him right now. Let me take the lid off. Yep. I think it was a unanimous vote that I should save this one caterpillar so that we could watch. I had gone ahead and made that command decision last night. When I saw him for the last time, he was gone again. He had started making it off on his nightly foray for food and was headed down the stalk. So we're going to watch him. But I can't leave this out in the sun. I'm going to have to take this back in the house where it's cool. And I think you're going to like the cage. I've got a cage that I'm going to make into an enclosure for this one to grow up in. If I find any more, I may do that as well. I don't want to get too crazy and not be able to take care of them, but that is coming up. Well, the 5-minute cloud has now been replaced by a much larger cloud. No longer is it partly cloudy, it's mostly cloudy. And I've mentioned the transformation of these insects and the tadpoles and the things that we can do, okay? The insects and the tadpoles have no trouble knowing that they need to transform. It's part of who they are. It's built into them. It's all instinct, okay? They do it automatically. It's part of their life cycle. Now, I just saw the dragonfly. Look there. I'm not sure if he's going to make it, but at least he's moving around. Okay? But the dragonflies, all of these things I've shown you, they transform without any problem. Humans have, we have to try to do that on purpose. Many times we don't change into a new creature overnight, but we can. The reason I'm speaking about this now, a friend of mine that lives just a little bit north of me, he lives in North Alabama, just a little bit north of me in North Alabama. His name is Greg Allison, and he put out a wonderful message yesterday. We have so many struggles today in our world, especially lately. So much strife and so many people hurting one another. So many things at us all on this tiny little patch of common ground that we live on, that, we need to think about things in a slightly different way. It's amazing how many of us are becoming aware of this. I was just watching Ozark Pathfinders. She was taking a tour of her garden, and she brought a message of peace. So many people are doing that now. It shows that we have that common ground with one another. We all want peace on this world. And it's really for our little helpers. The things that we do is really for the next generations. When we put our minds on the next generations of people to follow us, that's where we create the most wonderful world possible. I would really, really encourage you all to check out Greg Allison's channels. You'll be amazed at the message that he just dropped. I've shared it to my Facebook group. If you would like to join me over there, there's a link below. Or there's a link in the description of this video. You can find me over there. I'm fortunate enough to have people that I'm friends with. We share common ground all over this world. Many nations, many religions, many skin colors, many beliefs. And I'm fortunate. YouTube has brought me into a much larger world. Even though we have, each of us, such a small world to live on. We can live in peace if we just look at things in just a slightly different way. I appreciate each and every one of you watching. I hope to see you again tomorrow. And thank you very much from Homestead, Aquarius. Check out Greg and check out the Ozark Pathfinders. Wonderful people. Thank you very much.